What's happening, man? Good morning.
Good morning, fellas.
Oh, we're back. It is Wednesday morning. What's happening this Wednesday? Who ate what so far? Who smelled what? Give me two things. I want to know what you ate, what you smelled. What'd you do?
I ate nothing, and I'm ravenous right now.
I'm fasting because I need to draw blood later this morning. A friend of mine is really concerned about my health, so I went to the doctors for the first time in like 6 years, got a physical, and now they want to take my blood.
Are you glad you went?
Yeah, man, for sure.
Okay. I was just asking because the sentiment within the messages back and forth, I was like, I wonder if he's grateful for this or not.
No, it's that, like, so I like literally the doctor's sitting down and he's going over my file and he's like, yeah, I see the last time you were here was like 2018. He's like, so I'm just assuming you were with another provider. And I'm like, nope, been with you guys the whole time, bro. Just haven't shown up. And he's like,
stop judging me.
He's like, what happened?
Nothing. I was fine.
You're like, dude, just, got kids, got life. He's like, oh, but you like moved out of town. I'm like, yeah, but I still work. I like literally drive past your office. In fact, I had a project like not even a block away from his office. Like, so every time I'd go in and out of the job site, I'd see like the medical offices, and it just never dawned on me to just like schedule an appointment or do like a yearly thing. Like I said, I'm a relatively healthy person. I always feel healthy, like get enough sleep.
Yeah.
Like I don't have I don't have a lot of like, like everything he asked me, he's like, do you have any symptoms? And I'm like, no. So like part of it was like, I even felt it in the appointment where I was like, why am I here? But
man, but that's good conversation. It's so easy not to do those things. That's like when somebody messages me something nice, I'm always appreciative because I just know it's so easy not to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing I think with health too. It's like, well, we don't have anything in front of us right now. And so I think it's easy just to kind of not do it. And you were the driving right past. So that's the most amazing thing is that you took advantage of it. I think it's good. Plus, I think the best thing too, I know I mentioned this to you, Dom. I think the best thing that you can definitely do for your overall health is just have a record of consistency, or rather seeing some sort of trend over time. Show that you're healthy and a trend over time until something happens. Something will come up, whether it's something small or large. It's just good to know kind of like what had changed. But good job.
I'm also giving you a round of applause. I promised myself for my birthday last month that I would do that, and I have not done it yet. So I'm going to ask you guys for some help in keeping myself accountable this month before Christmas, or at least the New Year, to do that.
Yeah, this is a really good time to do it when there's so much going on. I will say maybe it's great for you to pull up a website right now. Don't even schedule. Pull up a website to schedule. What website would you go to? What app do you have to open to actually schedule?
I live in Google for my job, so I'll probably just do that.
Open it now. Don't schedule it. Just open it.
Yeah, I was surprised how easy it was. And like what was even more funny is when I put the appointment in the calendar, I got a reaction out, like the family calendar. I got a reaction out of both my daughter Bailey and my wife, where my daughter was like, "You're going to the doctor for what?" And then my wife was like, "You scheduled your own appointment? How'd you do that?"
You know what? I think comes in. Like Lauren takes care of so much of the scheduling things. And sometimes I guess how my mind works is like, oh, well, I guess she is taking care of it. And she's like really good at that stuff too. So it's like, it's just something where I'm like, okay, she's handling it good. I don't have to think about it. It's just one less thing I have to think about. But then it comes down to that moment where it's like, okay, well, maybe, hold on, what's going on? And then all of a sudden I don't know, like, what's going to happen in the future, and that makes me feel anxious. I'm like, no, I have to take care of this. That was like I had a moment when I was, this actually happened. I was scheduling a flight from Colorado to Chicago, and I was like, I'm going to do that. I opened up the computer to schedule my flight from Colorado. We were staying there in the summer to Chicago. It was for like the national. My brain was like, I forgot how to do this. I could not take care. I couldn't. I mean, like, obviously you find something, you type in plane ticket, whatever it's going to be, right? But in terms of deciphering good prices and then like the times and then who's like where things are kind of coming in, I was like, okay, I think I've given up way too much of my scheduling to my wife. And I was like, I can't have this. I'm way too dependent. That was like a moment I kind of freaked out a little bit. So still not good at it. I'm going to say this. I'm not going to know that I really have overcome that until I schedule my trip to Norway, my solo trip to Norway, where I'm going to run through the fjords of Norway. And then I'll be like, yep, I got it. I'm a functioning adult. So until then, we'll see. But guys, good morning here. Death, man. Death, December, death. I'm assuming because January is life, right? Or a new beginning. Dom, is that why December is what it is?
Yeah. Well, I also just think it's more of like with mortality, it comes like a level of appreciation and like a recap on like all you've been through. So it's like kind of like, that's kind of, you could tie that together with December, death and mortality.
Yeah,
like you had another year completed on the planet. Like, what'd you do? Think about all the things that you did. Appreciate every moment, that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I feel as if I get into some of these readings for the month, like knowing that, and Dom did warn me. It's like, okay, warn Brian, just so you know, this is like, it's like Brian, just so you know, this is the month of death. This is, and so I wanted to make sure that it was something that I am aware of, but it does end up affecting me. I'm like, okay, God, I'm thinking about my own death. I'm thinking about maybe my kids dying. Like, oh my goodness, it's just a lot to think about. And so I've been trying to kind of give myself a little bit of a lead up to it and feel a little better about it all. But it's hard. It's not the easiest thing. Birthday week, Craig. Do you guys? My daughter's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, your daughter's birthday tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Craig's. Have we found out what day of the week Craig's birthday is? Craig, I feel like you're being very mysterious about it.
I feel like I feel like Craig's been very upfront. He's like, I just get a whole week. After a certain age, you just get a whole week, and you get to say it's my birthday. I agree with him too. So there you go.
I agree, Ray. I agree, Craig. The 7th. All right, cool. Now we know.
All right. We're gonna jump in here, guys. I want to ask this question. In case Craig forgets the date, you just celebrate. It's like it's just my month. I don't even remember when I'm born.
Yeah, he's like, it's the first week of December.
I want to ask this question. Can we get ready to answer this question without diving verbatim into this whole book thing? But I wanted to just ask that, prime your minds a little bit. I want to put this question into the couch as well. But this idea of how often we're kind of rushing through these moments, I did yesterday. I know I did, not well, but it was something where, I think looking at like whether it's car rides or as something like Ryan Holiday said here, like the waiting room or the school drop-off line, which I'm really grateful I don't have a school drop-off line. You guys might do, I don't know. But how often do those things, like those moments, like the car rides, the waiting room, the school drop-offs, right? How often are we rushing through those? I have my answer, right? But I think that it's something that it's like we can definitely forget a lot of these moments being kind of what make up our time with our kids. We talked about garbage time, right? But like as today ended, it was kind of like don't wish any minute of your life away. But I find myself doing that more often. How many minutes till bedtime, right? How many minutes until I have to start work right now. You're rushing around, or how many minutes until the, in my case, how many minutes until the girls leave for school so I can get things done. But it's so hard to kind of stop yourself. Sometimes I use that 3-minute rule. Juicing up the wheels here, guys. Oiling up the wheels rather, but juicing up our brains. How do we feel about these moments?
Yeah, I've been in that space where I'm waiting for a period of time to end.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I talk with my students a lot. Not a lot. Like when a student is eager to leave or just looking for the end of class and not really doing anything. I like the end of the story on the page where the grandmother said, never wish away minutes of your life. I think that's a good way to just phrase it for students. It's like, where are you going to be? Because normally they're just going to rush and be bored in another class. So why not hang out in the room where you can make stuff? That's kind of the way I approach it with those students. I don't really hear a lot from our kids. I'm sure there are times when they just kind of want to rush through something. I feel like I'm okay at making time count. I would say I wasted a lot by having my head full and thinking too many things and being concerned with like the next day instead of thinking about the here and now.
Being in a moment. You're not in the moment sometimes.
Yeah. Like right now, my head is full this week. I'm constantly on the next day or the next hour. I'm not enjoying this week.
Dumb.
I'm at like
Dumb.
a.
Hold on, stay there.
I'm in a 6.
Can you help Jason right now?
What?
Dumb. Help Jason. Make him ground his feet in this moment.
Man, well, that's tough. I mean, I like how
Dom is like a therapist.
Help me stay grounded.
I like how Jason has shown up yesterday and today and like came in and just said like, because you're mindful about it, right? Like, I know this is a hard week for me. I know that like I don't feel like being here, but I know that this is something that makes me feel better. And without it, I would be worse. So I appreciate that like you're like, it, like, that's the best part is like, it. So you're taking the steps to give yourself the best possible mindset that you can. And that's what you need to do. Like, and then I know, like, just like how we're saying here in the reading, like, never wish any moment away. Like, but this moment's going to pass. I don't know how long this time frame is for you. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, if it's like getting to the winter break section of your life, but like, the moment's going to pass. So, it's a fleeting moment, even though it's a repeating moment for you, because I'm sure it happens every semester, trimester, year. And you've gotten through it every year. I think you had said you're learning new things. That's kind of why it's so difficult for you. But you've learned new things before. Like, that's part of that's one of the things I love about the Ryan Holiday teachings is it's like the hard stuff is what makes it worth it. Like, you learn that kind of perspective. Like, it's hard, and then you'll get through it. Like, whether you accomplish or you fail, you're going to get through it, and you're going to be better on the other side, knowing that like you were stressed, had all these hard moments, had all these hard days, and then at the end of it, you're like, oh shit, I did it. I'm still alive. Like, I actually had a good time, like chatting with the guys in the morning, or the girls and I learned a lesson this week because I was short with them or whatever.
Yeah, thanks.
You got this, and we're here for you as always. And that's the best part too, right? Like, we're here for you. And you got us now.
Well, thanks. Thank you, Dom. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I mean, I've been here before. I felt like this before, and I don't have a problem with it. It's just like it affects the way that like I interact with like Kristen and my kids.
Yeah.
And every time I get a little bit better at it.
That's the
it's just
hard
not
part
a. It's like a kind of like a. It's like an itchy, scratchy area that just is inevitable. But I know it ends, and then I'll have a good week next week. That's usually how it works.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the hard part. Is you put it on your wife and kids. Like, we all do this, and like wives do it to husbands, and kids do it to us. But like, You do it because that's like your safe zone, and that's where you can unload some of that energy, because you know those are the people that are never going to leave you, and they're your support system. So they're going to take it. They're going to hate it. Like, your wife's going to give you shit. Your kids are going to give you, oh, dude, come on, don't do that. Your wife's going to give you shit. Like, that's going to happen. But like, you wouldn't be able to do it on anyone else, right? Like, you wouldn't feel comfortable just doing it on a stranger. You can't do it on your boss, your students. Like, so you have to lock it in on those hours. For me, it's clients and subcontractors. And then you get home, and yeah, you're gonna shit on them a little bit, but at the end of the day, big hug, rewarding family trip for winter break, taking the family. Where's MP right now? Disney World or Disneyland? You kind of recharge that environment.
Yeah.
I recently heard, I don't know if this is a helpful thing or not. I also wanted to say one thing. If you guys remember Zordon from Power Rangers, I feel like Dom has a little bit of Zordon right now going on, and I really appreciate that. But I heard someone say that anxiety is, and I mean, I'm someone who's a pretty anxious person, so I'm saying this from a place of this help me hear it. But that anxiety, or just thinking about the future, Jason, or not being grounded in the moment like that, is more of a problem of prioritization. Is that you don't really know what you're doing next, or when to stop doing the next thing. Because I think that this like resonated with me recently, because Blaze has been pushing me to try something new, and I realized that what he's asking me to do can go on for hours. Like, there is no end to it. And so it's something where it's like, if I don't schedule those moments, one, I'm not going to complete it. And then two, I'm not going to get anything else done. And it's been a really good push for me to be like, okay, when am I prioritizing these things? And then when am I going to, get done what I have to do so that I can be in the moment? Because my biggest challenge right now, I think, is once the time of like school pickup rolls around, like once like 4:30 rolls around, that's where I have to now get over to like family time. That's where I'm picking up my youngest. That's where then I get home, and then it's dinner, and then it's this bedtime rush. Like, that's the hardest part of the day. And I found that some of the most amazing moments with my girls happen. Like, that's like where the family bonding ends up happening. But a lot of times I'm really stressed, right? And even like yesterday, my oldest has been like just kind of a pickier eater, trying not to define her as that, because when she defines herself as that, then she remains that. But it's this idea, like, she walked in, I was like cooking, I was already stressed, I'm like running around. My soon-to-be 4-year-old is asking to help me cook. I'm like, if you cook right now with me, like, it's gonna go down. But I let it happen anyway. And it's just like, okay, it was just so crazy. And then like, I'm trying to get all this done. I'm cooking 3 meals basically. Like, my youngest wanted some pancakes. I was making something for my wife, and then we had one of my oldest, one of my daughter's friends over for dinner too. So it's like 3 meals, and I'm trying to rush because then Lauren had to do something for work, and so it's like all around. And then the first thing that my oldest daughter says when she walks in the door, or the sound she makes, she goes, "Aw," she sees what I'm making. I'm like, now I said this. I want to connect with you guys. It's a little bit of a vulnerability moment. She said this, and in a split second, I go, "Get out." I just said, "Get out." Just like walk out of the door. Because I was like, and look, it's not right. And even like Lauren looked at me and she was like, "There's a better way to do that." I was like, I know there's a better way to do it. And that's like the hardest kind of thing, right? It's like, I know there's a better way to do it, but I did not have, I'm going to call it maturity. I didn't have the maturity enough to press pause and be like,
Yeah.
I know that she's saying that for a reason. Why is she saying that? Let me ask questions, blah, blah. But it was tough, right? It was a really hard moment. So,
I think I've had several moments like that with Bentley in the last couple of weeks, where I'm just like, I'll be in some sort of similar situation, and he'll say something, and I'll be like, "Don't talk to me." Or go to your room. Like, be in a different room right now, because that's like all you can get out, because like, if it goes any further, it's going to get worse, and you're going to end up yelling at them. So it is you being mature in a way, like, not as not as patient or not as gracious as probably our wives can be, because I feel like they have unlimited patience. Like there's things that I can see my wife do that I can't do. But it is my level of maturity to just know that, like, if they don't get away, it's just going to get worse. So,
Mhm.
like, either they're going to walk away or I'm going to walk away. And if you're tied to the kitchen, you can't walk away. Right. So, yeah,
Yeah,
those are
that's the
moments.
truth. Yeah, it's what was that? You were just saying that, and I was thinking about the. Am I gonna forget it? It was something salient, kind of around that moment, and I can't remember. So we're gonna move on. But yeah, I think that's like that is where if I get back to the priority of it all, if I did prioritize better in my day, because like there were moments I think back, I'm like, oh wait, yeah, no, you know what? I could have had like 5 minutes back, 10 minutes back, whatever was going on, or I could have done that more efficiently. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm stressed because of me. It's my fault. Now, I don't think it's 100%, but I think that it was mostly me. And if I did plan things better, it could have been good. And I was picturing that mom because in today, like the good example was like the mom on the train with her daughter. The daughter says, "Are we there yet? Like, I wish we were already there." And then the mom basically turns very calmly and says, don't wish any minutes of your life away, right? Because it's all so precious. But I was just thinking like if I was that mom in that moment, I feel as if I was thinking, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, that's coming up, I probably wouldn't have been able to say that. And then I'd be kind of like, no, I need those minutes back. And then all of a sudden I have someone that wants completely different than me. They want to get there sooner. And I'm like, no, this has to last longer so I can get more done. And so, maybe we have to take things off our plate if we're feeling that way. It's a good reminder for me. But Dom, you put your words so well. Jason, how you feeling? It looks like you're not working as much right now. It's great.
Yeah, I had to shut down what I was doing for school today. We have a late start, and I putting some slides together for a teacher meeting. I'm scatterbrained, and I decided to just focus on our last 6 minutes together, since I just realized that we're already 24 minutes in, and I've been trying to do too much this morning. So
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, hi guys.
What's going on? That's like a lesson I wish the kids saw. I want the kids to see that. Kids to see you. It's like a gift, right? You're teaching kids to be present. That's good, Jason. Can I ask you a question? I want to ask this. I was thinking about the idea of letting go of the rush. Just kind of like that's what my brain was thinking. Letting go of the rush. How do we just let go of the rush though? It's kind of like because I've been in moments. I'm like, what am I doing? It's kind of like one of those moments where like I see that my email, my inbox is just like there's so many things. I'm like, I'm just gonna press delete. I'm just gonna delete them all, and I've done that a number of times actually. And I'm like, nothing changed. Not one thing. Nothing good nor bad changed. And so I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I just want to hit the delete on my inbox when I'm in that mindset of just kind of rush, right? I'm just like, let's just hit delete. What's really going to happen? And nothing really does. So that's kind of my way of thinking through like letting go of the rush, hitting that delete button on the inbox. Just kind of slows things down. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to have some of those more meaningful connections with my kids.
I think one of the feelings one of the things that I think during that when I'm in that space is like I feel like the things are much more the things that I feel like I have to do, like just kind of like the whatever I'm doing here and not focusing on being in this space right now. It's like I feel like when I stop for even just like this last 90 seconds, I'm like, what I'm doing is probably a lot less consequential than I think it is. And if I don't do these things right, what's really going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I kind of have to, that thought helps me because like everything goes fine. Nothing that I was worrying about this week, nothing blew up and everything's fine. And it's that's just something, it's just a realization that I keep having over and over again, whether it's like in the span of a day or a week or a month. but it's like a constant lesson. It's like I never learn it to be like totally at ease all the time.
I hear you. I have a short statement that was said to me by my wife probably like a year ago, and it was helpful. And then I used it very aggressively on a client at work, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I'm gonna say it to you in a second. But Dom, I feel like you're so good at calming down sometimes. My question was this, because I was thinking Jason's a creative mind, and I feel like my creative mind gets me worked up sometimes. Do you, Dom, consider yourself a creative, or that you have a creative mind? Because I feel like with your job, it could go either way, right?
No, I don't. I don't really think of myself too much as a creative.
Okay.
No, not really. But I did have a point to make on what Jason was just talking about, because I can't remember where I read it, but I remember something that I was reading. They had brought up the point that, like, in the technology culture that we're in now, where it's like instant access to people, whether it be phone call, text, email, Slack, whatever, like it makes it so much harder for you to just like sit down and do the thing that you've decided to do. Like if you say like, I'm gonna write this report, like, and then you just get a text, a call, a Twitter notification, and like that's how you can easily go to a different thing, and then you find yourself 20 minutes and you're like, crap, I didn't even do anything on that report. So something to do with like prioritizing your time versus everyone else's use of your time, or like use probably is a nice word, more like abuse of your time. Like, so like I, I find myself shutting my phone into silent mode more often than not, so that I can create those quiet moments where I can focus on the task. Even closing my email inbox on my computer if my task doesn't involve me going through email. And when it does, then it's really, really hard, because then you get a new email and you get sidetracked into that task. So I don't know if that helps the thought process at all, but just trying to make sure that you prioritize like what your time is versus people trying to use or take your time. Like for me, it's like when someone calls or texts me, they're trying to get a hold of me right away, but I find that if I ignore them, let an hour or two go by, call them at the end of the day, they've figured it out themselves.
I
Or
love
they've
that reminder.
already gotten to the answer in their own thinking or with their own team, and they just wanted to, and now all they need to do is clarify with me that it's okay. And I'm usually like, yeah, good job, man. Like,
Yeah.
way to do it yourself. Appreciate you letting me know. Sorry I couldn't get a hold of you. I was in another meeting, and just letting them know, that I wasn't just sitting, watching their call.
Yeah.
But
That's such a good reminder that most people will be able to take care of their own problem. It happens a lot, right? And there's so much nuance within that too. It's like, well, no, so people do need help. Blah, blah, blah. But Jason, this was said to me one time by my wife when I was like, I got to get this done for this client. I got to do this. I got to be ready. I can't do that. I have to make sure that I'm keeping this appointment with that person. Now, I don't think she was completely right by saying this, but it was the right thing to say in the moment, if that makes sense. She goes, damn, you have a God complex. And I was like, well, okay, I find myself probably the most defensive I've ever felt in like the past 5 years. Now that you've said that, and I want to fight you. But it was also a little bit appropriate, because I was like, it wasn't as if maybe I thought that my clients would die without me. Like nutrition itself, like a lot of dietitians, especially in the hospital, people will remind you all the time, like other dietitians, if you're in a rush, they'll be like, there's nothing that you're going to do right now that is going to save a life. And so it's something where it's like, calm down. Like you are not the priority at the moment. And it's always a helpful thing. Like no one's going to die if they don't get enough protein in for the day, like whatever's going on. But when she said that, I was like, yeah, maybe I do feel as if that my people are not going to be as successful without me being there every moment. Right. I thought it was really good. And I'm sure that students are the same way, or like whatever you have to get done for this other teacher, right? You're putting together some slides or something. I'm sure that they're going to be fine, really, if you did not get them every single thing, whatever it is, however you take that and however you place it. But when she said that, it was right. And I said this to my client one time. He's this like really successful dude. I kind of comes in here. So he's like, I got so much going on. I said, fuck, man, you have a God complex. I took it right out of Lauren's book, and the dude like snapped back, and he was like, ugh. He's like, I think you're right. And I was like, yeah, dude, I think like, maybe you can take some things off of your plate and trust the people, because he's just like, he has to delegate so much and trusts nobody. So anyway.
Another good way to put that.
Wait, hold on. Tell me how the God complex sits with you.
That's where I'm going.
Okay, got it.
Our music teacher at our school here, awesome guy. He, as a teacher, one of the things that you have to deal with are students like, blurting out, taking attention, being class clown or whatever. And a line that I've found effective is telling the kid that you are not the main character. And that immediately usually shuts down that attention-seeking behavior. But also that's good to take for yourself some once in a while, is like, you're not the main character. Everybody has a story going on, and everybody's got their own shit. Once in a while, you got to take a little spoonful of that. And just kind of take things as they come. Things are going to be fine. And I am in that mind space right now where I have to kind of remind myself of that.
You're right. All right, guys. Well, we are at the top of the hour. I know Jason tried to set up some outro music yesterday. I think that's what I heard as I was going through everything. I'm going to mess that up right now. Oh, it's some outro. One thing in particular I just wanted to remind you guys of. Oh, here's two things. One, the new Mega Man TV series comes out on the 10th. Please get ready for it. We have a watch party going on. I'm going to dress up like Mega Man. One of those statements is going to be true. One's going to be false. So check it out. The other thing is that every Wednesday, 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, 10:30 Pacific, I'm talking with our man, Robbie Mattson, who has walked around the world in steps. One time already, he's on his second lap right now, but he is walking. We're doing a walking interview every single Wednesday. The goal is to help other people realize that they have that time in the middle of the day. We'd love for you guys to walk with us, whether you guys can be on stream with us or not, but just find some of that time today and join us if you can. We'll be over here as well. And so check it out, or at least look for it. All right, guys, that's it for the day. We hope that your mugs stay full of coffee and your hearts full of gratitude. We'll talk tomorrow. Cool.
See you guys.
See you guys. Bye.